This is ANN News Brief.
African countries have continued to put in place plans to combat the spread of coronavirus into their countries. Experts say the large traffic between Africa and China almost guarantees the virus would eventually spread to the continent. Ethiopia has begun its own measures against the disease. It announced on Tuesday 1 Chinese and 3 Ethiopian students had been quarantined in Addis Ababa. They were returning from a university in Wuhan, China. Airport officials discovered the student has symptoms of the disease, which include sore throat and cough. The health ministry says Ethiopia is staying a step ahead of the outbreak. The country has been in close contact with the World Health Organization and the Chinese government since early this month, so each would be fully updated on the status of the disease. The ministry says more than 20,000 passengers have been screened at Addis Ababa Airport using thermal scanners to take temperatures of airline passengers arriving from affected regions in China. It says anyone who is sick is quarantined. Several African countries, including Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, South Africa, have also begun screening passengers arriving from China. Sudan's finance minister says the country plans to replace fuel subsidies with direct cash payment to the poor within 18 months. This plan is one of the steps the country is taking to reshape its fragile economy after the exit of longtime dictator Al-Bashir. Finance Minister Ibrahim Badawi told the Associated Press on Tuesday the country will gradually phase out fuel subsidies that eat up 1/3 of the nation's budget. He says this plan will roll in by March and will continue into next year. This year's budget already includes subsidies. Badawi is a former economist with the World Bank. More than half of the Sudan's 40 million people live in poverty. Economists say the government has to walk a fine line to ensure removal of subsidies would not cause destabilizing protests like the ones that brought down Al-Bashir. But they say at the same time the country must apply wide-ranging economic reforms to reintegrate Sudan into the international community that would enable international lenders to do business with the nation. We'll be right back.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
The Isabel dos Santos saga in Angola has now caught several international firms in its fray. Dos Santos faces court cases on accusations of misusing more than $1 billion in state funds. Her husband has tried to exonerate himself by pointing to his accounting firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers. He says the firm handled his family's accounting and doled out tax advice to them. But PricewaterhouseCoopers and other accounting firms are saying not so fast. They are steering clear of the couple's problems with the country. Isabella dos Santos is the daughter of former Angola President Jose Eduardo dos Santos. She has declared her innocence. She says her businesses are run on the world stage at the highest standards. Her father's successor began a corruption fight in the country in 2017 that has led to charges against the Dos Santos family. Angola's Attorney General says the Dos Santos family has looted more than $1 billion from state coffers. The New York Times reports PricewaterhouseCoopers has now cut off ties with 20 of Dos Santos companies. That is ANN News Brief at 11. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi.